A lot of people are saying that some hidden messages in what Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth have announced over the last 48 hours are really just a sign of what is about to happen to the American people. I want you to watch this video that there's a lot of social media hype about. This is Donald Trump saying, if we die, if we must die, we die as men without complaint.
Dear God, he said, we ask only this, that if we die, we must die, and we as men would die without complaining, without pleading, and safe in the feeling that we have done our best for what we believed was right. We must do what is right. Colonel Wolverton, too, died for us.
So there's Donald Trump saying and reiterating a very strongly themed message that if you must die, you must do so as a man without complaint. Here we have Scott Bessent. He's speaking about every child that is born. That's retroactive to January 1st, 2025, and over the next 3-year period is going to be tokenized. Now, you've seen a lot of information about them tokenizing or making into a digital asset things like every tree on Earth. They're trying to digitize and make into an asset all electrical companies, the amount of power you use, you as an individual. Now there's a concern that they're going to begin tokenizing the children.
The other thing you're going to see in the middle of the year are these Trump accounts. Every child born retroactively to January 1, but for the next 3 years, is going to get a $1,000 account that's going to be invested in the U.S. stock market. So that's another $1,000 for working families.
So, yes.
Now, I think that is maybe going to be a good thing, but we also have a real big issue in they will use these types of leverages to make sure the American people are digitized. So you'll have to get your digital ID, or your children's $1,000 growing investment stock will no longer apply to them. It will force American parents to sign their children up for this tokenization. So there are some pretty concerning things happening. Commercial-backed securities hitting the highest delinquency rates, not since the dot-com bubble, not since 2008. They're hitting their highest delinquency, non-payment rates in history. Here's Donald Trump speaking on the cattle industry.
You're seeing that.
You had suggested that you might not proceed maybe with the swaps plan or with the changes to beef purchases, depending on the result of that election.
We'll see. We're going to take care of, look, we're going to take care of our ranchers one way. That we have two situations. The ranchers for 35 years have done very poorly. The cattle people, they've done very, very poorly. And now they're doing well, but the prices are. So what I can see happening is we're going to take some beef because I have to get the price down. I want to get, most prices are down. If you look at energy and all the, I have things down, but beef is high. And the cattle ranchers are doing good. They backed me from day one. What we're going to do is we're going to make...
You guys let me know if your electricity prices are down. Maybe I'm just jaded and not seeing things the way that you are. Here's Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida. He is demanding that the federal government, the United States of America as a whole, begins to get rid of all property tax.
From the property tax situation. It's very important given how that's pinched so many homeowners, particularly our senior citizens who have their homes paid off and they bought it 30 years ago for a certain amount. Now they're being told it's worth so much more and they have to pony up more and more money. It's almost like they have to pay rent to the government just to be able to enjoy their property. And that's wrong. And we need to do something about it.
Now, if this does pick up steam across the entire country, it's going to be because they want all of the investment funds, the firms that bought up all of the houses like BlackRock. They want them to not have to pay property taxes. Now, in states like Alabama, maybe it's Texas, Arkansas, there's a couple of others. Once you hit 65 years old, you don't pay any more property taxes. That means if you can't, your house doesn't get taken away. Now, that is a legitimate way to do it, but let's face it, property tax is a unjust taxation against the American people.
Look, we use the U.S. balance sheet to bolster a great ally of the United States. I call it the peace through economic strength. And how much better to put up the credit and full faith in the United States government, make money, and bolster an ally rather than end up with something like we've got with the Maduro regime, where we're having to target these drug ships and take military action. The question was, how is this good for Americans? It's great for Americans because we are taking back Latin America through our economic leadership. Well, they
Interesting choice of words and a little bit of a threat maybe to Argentina there. As Scott Besson says, what would you rather have us do? Would you rather us have us target these ships and basically take over the oil and the land of a land like Argentina, or give them a credit that we can make money off of as a country? So maybe there's a spin out there that we're not seeing.
On social media.
They're trying to get rid of any sort of anonymity.
To anonymity on social media. In our countries, no one can walk the streets with a mask on their face or drive a car without a license plate. No one can send packages without showing an ID or buy a hunting weapon without giving their name. And yet, we are allowing people to roam freely on social networks without linking their profiles to a real identity. This paving the way for misinformation, hate speech, and cyber harassment. Because it is...
God forbid somebody out there call your mama fat. We are looking at them taking away all of your rights. And they've already said it. You can't drive without a license plate. You cannot send a piece of mail in many of these countries without showing identification, unless you're in the USA trying to vote for a left-sided government. You cannot do anything without them being able to trace who you are, where you went. They're tracing your cell phones. They're reading your texts. They're doing everything. And their last freedom, the very last freedom that they want to go after, is the media presence or social presence you have, and then the air you breathe. And they're doing that through carbon taxation and a removal of digital anonymity. Fannie Mae dropped its minimum credit score requirement for home buyers. That's starting just in 3 days. This system, they say, will use a new credit profile, not an enforcement of a 620 credit score cutoff. Do you want to know what happened during the great mortgage crisis of 2008? They lessened the strictness on who they would give a mortgage to. This is actually, as many people are saying, history repeating itself.
This has long been documented in black and white. Full funding for healthcare for illegal aliens for several hundred billions of dollars. They resulted in, as a consequence of their shutdown, massive flight delays for the American people, huge impacts on public safety, federal workers going without pay, people who are living paycheck to paycheck, not being able to make ends meet. This was a Democrat sabotage of the Trump economy that has brought record prosperity to the American people. The Democrats, as President Trump has said, are acting...
Mr. Secretary.
Here's Scott Besson discussing, they're saying that it's misinformation or it's a lie if you say that the times are hard right now.
Secretary, it's not news anchors at NBC saying it, it's the voters a week ago saying life is too expensive in this country. So do you believe the idea that voters are saying affordability is a problem for me is a con job?
I believe even this morning you had two people come on and say, well, I look at the price at the pump and I know costs are up. Well, gasoline's down. So that is a con job. And I think that's what's frustrating.
So you don't believe that all the people who went to vote last Tuesday on the issue of affordability, my rent's too high, I can't afford to buy a house, groceries are too expensive. You think they're just misperceiving what's happening in their lives?
I think that that we inherited an affordability crisis. We have slowed the price increases down, and they are going to continue to slow down, and that real working class wages will go up, and that will address the affordability issue. And, I think this is what Democrats are afraid to do.
So they're saying that this is a little bit of a backtrack on what Donald Trump and Besson have said in the past. Now they're saying that all they did was slow down how bad inflation was taking away your money. And that, I guess, they did. So guys, we're going to keep watching all these events every day, see what's happening, what direction we're going. I hope that you and your family got to see that that G5 storm that hit our planet. We were just a couple of hours at that intensity away from having a real problem on our electrical grid. So we are watching all of the solar storms. We're watching the sun to see what it does. And we are watching the crazy people on Earth as we wait for the collapse of this infrastructure to actually start to unfold. You're watching Full Spectrum Survival on YouTube. Please make sure that you are subscribed to this channel. Hit the hype button if you see it as an option down there on this video. You're a part of this family, and we thank you for taking the time out of your day to be here. Make sure you check back at 2 p.m. this afternoon. It's just a couple of hours. We have more information from America and from around the world. Stay safe, everyone.